Hi everybody, Dan Illman along with Matt Bernier. The Wednesday DRF Bets race of the day. We've got some stakes action at Delaware Park. It's the 9th and it's the lighthearted stakes, and you can bet it with your own DRF Bets account. Obviously a big week with the Triple Crown on the line this Saturday at Belmont Park. You don't want to miss any of the action, and you can bet it all with DRF Bets. Learn more at drf.com/bet, and by the way, you can get some free cash. Here's the field for the lighthearted stakes on Wednesday. You can access free formulator past performances for the race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Download them and handicap along with us. Matt and I are going to take this field in post position order, while we must mention that the 4 Hold Her Tight, the second choice on the morning line, is expected to scratch for a spot at Prairie Meadows on Thursday. Matt, down towards the rails, the 1 Blue Union Rags. This is a filly that acts like a stayer, but I have to admit I was a little bit disappointed when she was hiked up into stakes competition last time out at Laurel.
Yeah, she didn't do much running. I happen to think the winner that day, Good One Honey, is actually a talented one, but you're right, she didn't do any sort of running with the rest of the field. She finished 5th that day. Now, I suppose maybe that's an indictment on the rest of this field, because she has the highest last out buyer in the field of the 73. So if you're just strictly a numbers player, she makes some sense, but I agree with you. To me, she's kind of long-winded, and I think if you're using her, underneath at best.
I kind of agree with the underneath part, and it was a fast pace last time out, and she was just outrun. She was hard-ridden from about the half-mile pole, and just when you thought the speeds were going to come back to her, she was just kind of grinding it out, one pace down towards the inside. It was an even performance, but as you mentioned, it was a fast race, and the runner-up did come back to finish a well-beaten 3rd in the Black-Eyed Susan with a 75 buyer speed figure. I'm with you. I use Blue Union Rags underneath. The 2 is Dothraki C, and Dothraki C was no match for Blue Strike last time out in a 2-turn race at Parks, but I guess an argument could be made that Dothraki C was compromised a little bit by a slow pace, and with only 4 starts on her resume, we can expect some improvement.
Yeah, and 3rd start off the layoff, 2nd route off the layoff. I like the way that she finished. She showed a little bit of interest at the end. You can make the argument that she is the best bred horse in this entire race, because you see she's 3/4 to Dixie Chatter, who was a graded stakes winner on turf, half the Rumor, who was a graded stakes winner sprinting on dirt. So there's a ton of pedigree in here, and we talked about the Union Rags. They all seem like they want to run all day. Respect anything that Tom Proctor throws out there. I would also use her underneath as well.
Let's dismiss the 3 Venti to Go's most recent race. It was on the turf. It was an experiment that didn't pan out. 2 starts back, this one scored at Laurel going a 1-turn mile, and the runner-up that day has come back to do some useful things. 2nd on the turf with a 67 buyer, then the winner of a 1X on the dirt with a 68 buyer. I like this filly's tactical speed. Her race 3 starts back, I guess, puts her in the mix from a buyer's standpoint. She's going to be a price, but she just lacks kind of a wow factor for me.
Yeah, my concern is through 9 lifetime starts, she just doesn't seem like she's getting that much faster. The career best buyer, 71, makes her a fringe contender at best, and she's only done that 1 time in her career. She's lived in that mid to high 60 range. I don't think that's fast enough to win.
We're expecting the 4 Hold Her Tight to scratch. The 5 is Sweet Candy Dance, and it's interesting to note that Sweet Candy Dance's 1 and only 2-turn race on dirt resulted in a maiden win at Parks, so maybe this is what she's been waiting for all along, and perhaps that last race, her first start in about 5 months, was nothing more than a means to this end, a sprint prep off of the layoff. She didn't have to like that wet surface, and that horse that beat her, Dixie Serenade's pretty good. She came back to run 3rd in a Pennsylvania bred stake over the weekend with an 84 buyer. This horse is 10-1 on the morning line, and for me, she's kind of a horse I would fool around with underneath.
Highest last out buyer with that 7-3. I don't love her, but I can understand anyone that wants to use her and say, you know what, this is probably what she's along.
Blue Strike is the number 6, and boy, she's just come firing off the layoff for John Service, who's having a sensational year. We talked about her win last time out where she was up close to a moderate pace, but ever since they've gotten her back off the bench, she's gotten 2 big confidence-boosting wins, and she can be close to the pace, I would think.
That's the most important thing to me. I think she gets outrun. I think she's relatively close, and it's also noting those 2 races off the layoff, both first time with blinkers on. I think really that's woken her up. We'll find out. She's going to need to improve from a buyer's standpoint, though.
We mentioned Service. Here's the formulator fact for Blue Strike. Over the past 5 years, with last out winning 3-year-olds going 3rd off the bench in dirt routes, 33%, 13 of 15 on the board with a $3.13 return on investment. The 7 Prospective Lady comes off a gate-to-wire score in a little stakes race at Tampa Bay. The 4th place finisher came back to be stakes placed on turf at Canterbury with a 75 buyer, and Prospective Lady is our prospective pace setter according to our Timeform US pace projector. Projector. Prospective Lady, I think, is okay, but that last race, while that buyer of 70 puts her in the picture, I wonder if it was kind of pace-aided, and I have a feeling they might go after her a little bit harder than the Pace Projector predicts.
Well, and even if you think that she's going to get a similar kind of trip, I just don't think that she's going to go much faster than that. I mean, you had everything go your way and you're into 70 buyer. I can't imagine now you're going to jump up to a 75 or an 80, where I think some of these other girls, they at least have the right to move forward. With her, she's run 9 times. I kind of feel like we're starting to see the ceiling already.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the lighthearted stakes, Wednesday's DRFBets race of the day. I'm kind of going with a Moto horse, Master of the Obvious, and the 8 Mo Shopping. This is a horse dropping out of the Grade 2 Gazelle for Todd Pletcher. I just didn't think that race set up very well for her. I didn't think the inside was the place to be. She was down there every step of the way, and not only that, it was kind of an uncomfortable trip, just being pressed by another horse while down inside and kind of in tight. She never ran. She was overmatched. She's getting a drop in class. She moves to the outside. I think a good tracking trip is coming, and that was a good field in the Gazelle. The 4th place finisher came back to win the Bowery for New York Breds with a 78 buyer. It's kind of a now or never in the stakes ranks, I think, for Mo Shopping. This is a key race in her career, I would think.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think the other thing, too, you brought up the Gazelle. She's going to be facing probably, with the exception of that run 2 starts back, the weakest company she's faced in some time. If she can't get it done here, I don't know what you're going to do with her. I will say the only caveat I'd throw in, Stop Shopping Maria did most of her good work as far as turf is concerned. There's other turf on the bottom, the Uncle Mo's. We know what they're up to. I wouldn't be surprised at all if it doesn't work here. You go back to the turf. You see she debuted on the grass for Pletcher.
I don't think she's a great bet because I think she'll go off at less than 2-1. If I wanted to try to make some money with Mo Shopping, I might want prices like the 5 Sweet Candy Dance or the 1 Blue Union Rags underneath. But you're going with the sharp horse with the formulator fact. That's Blue Strike, 9-2 on the morning line. What's fair value, and what are your top 4 picks?
I'd probably slide down a little bit from there. I would take her in that 7-2 range. I think she's going to trip out in here. I think she sits just off of Prospective Lady. And as much as we love the figures, we love the buyers, we love the Timeform US ratings, sometimes you just got to kind of let your eye tell you what's going on. I think she's a little bit better than what the numbers would suggest. And really, the blinkers, they've just turned her into a different animal. I think she trips out. I'm going to go 6-2-8 in here.
Nice race to kick off Belmont Stakes Week with stakes action at Delaware Park on Wednesday. Once again, you can bet it with a new DRFBets account. Sign up now at drf.com/bet. Join the Belmont Stakes action with free cash and enjoy Justify as he goes for the Triple Crown on Saturday afternoon. Approximate post time for the lighthearted stakes. Rate 'em a 9 at Delaware Park on Wednesday, 5:15 Eastern. Best of luck.